Bradley Ballard was an inmate at Rikers until he died September of last year because of neglect. Apparently, he made a lewd gesture to one of the female prison guards, and as a result, they put him in his cell by himself, and then they just kind of let him rot there, and then he eventually died. Now, after he was found in the cell, there were a number of issues that came up. For instance, he was denied some of his medication. He was schizophrenic and diabetic, and he was denied some of his medication. He intentionally clogged his toilet so it overflowed, and they apparently didn't do anything about it except for shut off the water. They stripped off all of his clothes, so he was completely naked, and they also found him with a rubber band tightly around his genitals, tied tightly around his genitals. And it's unclear as to how that happened and why it was there, but apparently they weren't checking on him enough to make sure that he wasn't a threat to himself. But when they showed up, I mean, he was not responding, and preliminary findings show that he probably succumbed to sepsis, an infection that has spread through the body. So it's kind of incredible to see that our so-called justice system, which was supposed to have that element of rehabilitation, just allows inmates, especially inmates with mental illnesses, rot in their cells after they make a lewd gesture to a female correctional officer. And I'm not trying to say that that was the right thing to do, but to just leave him there to die, I mean, that's not going to help anything, any situation. By the way, he was behind bars for assault.
So he clogged up his own toilet, and then the plumber came by and turned off the water. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't fix anything. They just turned off the water. They brought him food, and they'd turn away because it was clear that the video shows that it smelled terrible. Like, I got it. He made a lewd sexual gesture toward a female guard. You're a guard. Get beyond it. That's your job. You have the gun. You're in charge of that situation. Be in charge of that situation and take care of your prisoner. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to let him out. You're just supposed to take care of him. Make sure he's okay. That's it. That's it. You don't get threatened by it. You don't feel like I'm going to show him, put him in his place. There's none of that. If there's discipline to be enacted for something like that, you discipline him, whether it's 24 hours in isolation or whatever. But you don't go through this long punishment and then high five your stupid friends.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know what the gesture was, he was allegedly staring at a female prison guard for hours, and then he rolled up his sweater and put it near his penis and pretended as if it was his penis, and then he was like swinging it around. So that was enough for them to put him in a cell by himself. And at Rikers, they allow the inmates to communicate with one another, and so putting him in isolation like that, it wasn't solitary confinement, it was a different type of cell, but leaving him there was punishment, but then they just neglected him after that.
He's mentally ill.
Yeah.
Like, who gets offended by something that someone mentally ill does? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand what's in the head of somebody who sees another human being in distress, even if he made a lewd gesture to you, but he's mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
And I just want to state a quote from a Yale psychologist who kind of talks about this issue and how correctional facilities don't really deal with mentally ill inmates appropriately. She says, correctional institutions are such a poor substitute for mental hospitals, which is what they're basically functioning as in our society. The problem is the correction setting is not fit to deliver the proper care, and in fact, many of the settings exacerbate the symptoms, which is absolutely true. I mean, we always have these conversations, especially after mass shootings, that we need to fund mental health care in the United States, but we never do it. It's just a way of shutting people up, especially when we have any type of argument about gun control, and then nothing is ever really done about mental health care. We just lock people up and we treat them as if they're any ordinary inmate, but they need special care, and you need to be specially trained to deal with them. A lot of these correctional officers are not getting the appropriate training to deal with them.
Did you mention how hot it was in the cell? I don't remember. It was 101 degrees in the cell.